Good morning, everyone. Excuse me, I have to turn my volume off on my laptop. I would like to say good morning to everyone and welcome to the Banking Committee meeting Tuesday, March the 10th in room at 11 o'clock in room 2B. And so welcome to those that are in the room and online as well. Before we get started, are there remarks from my co-chair?
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be JFing bills. This is what we're here to do, and we operated very efficiently thus far this session, as always. So I look forward to getting to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My House co-chair, our ranking member, Representative Aksa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate the opportunity just to say a few things. I just want to echo your sentiments and Representative Doucette's as well, that we have had a very productive time here on the Banking Committee. No one is ever in agreement with anyone else 100% of the time, but I think we're just about as close as you could get for a bipartisan committee. So we will have some small disagreements today, I would imagine, but I think the vast majority of what we have all worked on together is good legislation, and looking forward to this meeting and hopefully seeing some of these bills on the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And so, as my co-chair mentioned, this is our JF meeting, and I'm proud of our committee that we were able to JF our bills before our deadline. And so I would like to thank the committee for their participation in this process. And let's get started. The first bill on our agenda for bills under review is SB number 215-215. It's an act concerning the presumption of abandonment of certain property held or owing by a banking organization. Do I have a motion to JF to the floor, LCO 2981?
So moved.
Moved by Representative Doucette, second? Second by Senator Honig. Are there questions or comments?
Madam Chair, I move to create a consent calendar and add the first bill to that calendar.
Thank you, sir. Are there objections? Are there objections? Seeing none, bill number SB 215 will be moved to the consent calendar. Our next bill, item number 2, is SB 216, an act concerning the community bank and credit union investment program established by the state treasurer. Do I have a motion to JF to the floor? Moved by Representative G, or do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Doucette. Representative Hoxha.
I move to add that item to the consent calendar.
Are there objections? Seeing none, SB 216 will be moved to the consent calendar. Item number 3, SB 217, an act requiring mortgagees to accept mortgage payments tendered on a monthly, semi-monthly, or bi-monthly basis. Do I have a motion to JF to the floor? Moved by Senator Koenig. Do I have a second? Second by Representative G. Representative Aksa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I just have a couple questions on this, and I don't know if this would be consentable for a consent calendar, but would you like me to proceed with the questions first?
You may proceed, sir.
Thank you. So is this bill, because there was a couple bills with a similar concept to this, can you explain? I'll just give you an example because I think that's really the best way to get the answer that I'm looking for. So as far as this bill goes, in the event that someone receives a most of us probably have mortgage payments we're dealing with in real life. If your mortgage payment is due on the first of the month, let's say, so let's say April 1st of this, coming month, and I choose to make half that payment today on March 10th, does this bill is saying that banks now shall have to accept partial payments in that sense, but the overall bill that is due for April is unchanged, less the amount that I paid. Is that correct through you?
No, Representative, the bill is not intended for that partial payments. It's intended to make additional payments to a monthly charge or monthly payment that was already paid in full.
Okay, so not partial payments on one particular bill ahead of time, but rather additional payments for future bills or just principal only through you.
It's been my experience that it's principal only, but it's after you've made your full payment. So if you're going to pay extra, it's usually applied to the principal first. Did I answer your question, sir?
Yes, I just working at a bank, I don't I'm not 100% sure that that's the case. So you're saying that this bill that we have in front of us would make it so that when I make a partial payment before my bill is due, that payment goes not towards the bill, but towards the principal of the entire loan. Is that what you were saying? I'm just trying to understand this.
So the word is partial. This bill does not address partial payments. It only addresses additional payments. So I've paid my mortgage. Now I want to pay an extra $100. So I would pay the $100. This bill does not apply to partial payments, because then you're looking at delinquency and it gets complicated.
Okay, I think I understand. So, to the best of your understanding, banks, you're saying that banks do not universally allow that sort of payment right now through you?
To the best of my ability, is allowed in some banks, but this is to cover those banks that do not allow it. So, the whole purpose, then, legislative intent of this bill is to allow individuals to pay down their mortgage so that they could then have equity, get their equity in their homes quicker. And so, and it's about education as well, because I was never told I had a mortgage. No one ever told me about that. I read it online somewhere, but it did allow me, by paying an extra $100 a month, I was able to pay my loan down. Oh. I was able to finish paying my loan 3 years earlier.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. No further questions from me. But I do ask that we just do a roll call vote, please.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other questions from the committee? Representative Doucette.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I'm in full support of this concept. As I pointed out at the hearing, it's interesting. We often have issues like this in the legislature where we are codifying an accepted practice, or there is a question whether or not, okay, well, this is already a legal and accepted practice. Is there a need to codify it? And I think on the other side of that coin, the question is, well, is there any harm in affirming this as an accepted practice for the reasons that you stated, which are to allow folks to pay down debt quicker and recapture equity in their home, which is their biggest investment. So again, my experience as a practitioner in my law practice, explaining the mortgage documents to folks every day, is that this is in fact an accepted practice. It is an advisable practice. As you said, most financial advisors and folks online will advise you to do this. So I think this is a good concept, and I look forward to pursuing it further and seeing it pass this year. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are there any other questions or comments? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk.
A roll call vote has been requested on Agenda Item 3, SB 217, an act requiring mortgagees to accept mortgage payments tendered on a monthly, semi-monthly, or biweekly basis. The action is to JF to the floor. Representative Doucette.
Yes.
Senator Miller. Representative Delnicki. Senator Berthel. Rep. Santos.
Aye.
Senator Honig.
Yes.
Representative Baker.
Representative Baker votes yes.
Representative Foster.
Rep. Foster votes yes.
Senator Hockenell.
Senator Hockenell votes yes.
Rep. G.
Yes.
Rep. Aniskovich. Rep. Hoxa.
Hoxa votes yes.
Rep. Gajewski.
Gajewski votes yes.
That is the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And the votes will be open until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Thank you. The next bill on our agenda is SB number 218, an act concerning a study relating to banking issues in the state. Do I have a motion? Moved by Senator Honig. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Representative Doucette. Are there questions or comments? Questions or comments?
Yes, Senator, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I move to add this item to the consent calendar.
Thank you, sir. Are there objections? Seeing none, SB 218 will be moved to the consent calendar. Next item on our agenda is SB 219, an act concerning civil penalties for certain violations relating to rental security deposits. Do I have a motion? Excuse me, to JFS to the floor, LCO 2765. Now, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Representative Doucette. Do I have a second? Second by Representative Z. I'm sorry. Let's start over. Second by Representative G. Thank you. I'll slow down. So are there questions or comments? Yes, Representative Oxa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Quick question. So, this was the bill that, when we discussed, at our meeting, was one that was initiated by the Department of Banking and just basically wanted to clear up some language to an existing statute and existing powers they have, in this area. Is that correct through you?
That is correct, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all I have for questions. I move that we add this to the consent calendar.
Thank you, sir. Are there objections? Seeing none, SB 219, JFS to the floor will be moved to the consent calendar. Next on our agenda is Senate Bill 300, an act establishing a debt collection exemption related to joint accounts. JFS 2, do I have a motion to JFS to the floor? LCO 2983. Do I have a motion? Representative Doucette, moved by him. Do I have a second? Second by Senator Honig. Are there questions or comments? Representative Oxa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I love, the concept of what this bill is trying to get at. We heard public testimony from, both sides. And I believe it was the last gentleman that made a really good point, which is that, we needed to take another look at the language we had, to make sure that it actually accomplished what we all agreed on, which is to provide a sort of fair and equitable solution for all parties involved in this sort of situation that I'm sure plays out many times all over the state and country, where you have, for those of watching that don't know, a situation where there's two people on an account, therefore a joint account, and co-ownership of the account means co-responsibility, even when it's just one party that is liable to a creditor, let's say. So the aim of this bill was to alleviate the other individual that was not in any way, shape, or form conspiring with, or acting in a bad way, and in a way as to be responsible for any court determined liability by the other party. And that's a difficult thing to legislate. And I think I even read some commentary that the judge in a particular case wanted to specifically, said something along the lines of sending of tasking the legislature with creating a solution to this sort of predicament. I'm actually of the opposite view on that. I think a judge should be the one to look at these things on a case by case basis and determine, who is which situation has merit. Basically determine when there's malice involved and when there isn't. That's very difficult for us to legislate, but we tried. That's what we're here to do. We're here to legislate, not defer things to the courts. And we did try, and we came up with some language, and I was a part of those conversations. But as of right now, I would like more time to look at that language and see if we can make it even better, and really make it, as airtight as we can, so that we are not putting people who ethically and morally we know are not responsible or should not be, punished, that we take those people out of harm's way, and also make sure the language is such that it brings justice to the individual who ought to pay for his or her obligations. And I just feel like we could do just a little bit more to make that as to bring it to that standard of airtight, like I said, as much as we can. So for that reason, for now, I'm going to flag this with a no vote. But I love the concept and I love the work we did thus far. I just think we could do just a little bit more to make it a little bit better. But for now, I'm going to be a no, but I love the concept. Fairness, and is an extremely, it's what we're here for, is to make sure we pass fair laws. So I think that's what we're trying to do, and we're almost there. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you. And I ask for a roll call vote, please.
Thank you, sir. And I do appreciate your comments. And I've been in this building since 2009, and every bill that has come out of committee, normally, I should say almost every bill that comes out of committee is not the same bill that hits the floor when we have to vote on it. And so I would like the committee to vote this bill out of committee so that the proponents of the bill can continue to work on it. As you see, that it was JFS, and we tried our best to bring a decent product to the committee. But as you stated, there may be individuals who may have comments after today. And so this bill, as well as other bills from this committee, they're works in progress. And we will continue to work on them to try to ensure, or do our best to ensure that the products that we bring on the floor is something that benefits the public. And so I do appreciate your comments, sir. Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk.
A roll call vote has been requested on SB 300, an act establishing a debt collection exemption relating to joint accounts. The action is to JFS to the floor, LCO number 2983. Representative Doucette. Senator Miller.
Yes.
Representative Delnicki. Senator Berthel. Representative Santos.
Representative Santos votes yes.
Senator Honig.
Yes.
Representative Baker.
Representative Baker votes yes.
Representative Foster.
Rep. Foster votes yes.
Senator Hockenell.
Senator Hockenell votes yes.
Rep. G,
Yes.
Rep. Enniskovich, Rep. Hoxa,
Hawk says no.
Rep. Gieske.
Rep. Gieske, yes.
That is the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The next item on the agenda is Senate Bill 301, an act requiring the Department of Banking to conduct a study relating to signature guarantee programs. Do I have a motion to JF this bill to the floor? Moved by Senator Honig. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Oxa. Are there questions or comments?
Madam Chair, I move to add this to the consent calendar.
Thank you, sir. Are there objections? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please move this bill to the consent calendar. Next on our agenda is Senate Bill 302, an act revising various provisions relating to certain approvals by the Banking Commissioner and Connecticut Bank branch applications. Do I have a motion to JFS to the floor, LCO 2982? Moved by Senator Holnick. Do I have a second? Second by Representative G. Do I have questions or comments? Representative Oxa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question on this. In the substitute language, we agreed that nothing relative to the original language, 90% or most of it was going to be kept the same. The only change was with regarding mergers of banks and the standard that would need to be met before a bank can qualify for an exemption on a Community Reinvestment Act plan. Is that correct through you, Madam Chair?
Thank you for your comments. So the bank, the original bill stated, had asked that any merger, consolidation, or new location be exempt from the rule. And what this bill does, when changing the language, we wanted to make sure that mergers and consolidations were not exempt, that the law stands as it is.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. So that would essentially mean that they would have to submit a CRA plan unless they have, they're given the title of outstanding, I believe was the metric. Is that true through you, Madam Chair?
That is correct, sir.
All right, thank you. I don't have any other questions, so if nobody else does, I move to add this to the consent calendar.
Is there objection? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, will you please move Senate Bill 302 to the consent calendar, JFS language? Item number 9, Senate Bill 303, an act concerning secure credit cards. Do I have a motion to JF this bill to the floor? Moved by Representative Doucette. Do I have a second? Second by Representative G. Thank you. I do know your name. Are there questions? Representative Oxa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A quick question on this. And I've asked some of my staff about this as well. Was there, I know we had talked about implementing these sort of like standards or like thresholds on a couple of these bills based on size of the institution. Was there, I see here it says JF to the floor. So was there any change in the language as far as which institutions have to abide by this? Is there a threshold that we put into place like we were looking to do for another bill? I think it was over under 50 million in assets or something like that through you, Madam Chair.
Through you, thank you, sir, for that. No, there were not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. I move we add this to the consent calendar.
Thank you. And again, as I stated earlier, works in progress, right? And so there's still time for the proponents, those that are in support as well as in opposition, that you work with, I should say the partners, to work with the proponents of the bill. Thank you. Are there objections to moving this item to the consent calendar? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, would you please move Senate Bill 303 to the consent calendar? The next bill on our agenda is House Bill 5208, an act concerning a study concerning financial transactions in the state. Do I have a motion to JF this bill to the floor? Moved by Representative Doucette. Do I have a second? Second by Representative G. I'm just going to call you by your first name and get it over with. Representative G. Questions or comments?
Madam Chair, I move that we add this to the consent calendar.
Thank you, sir. Are there objections to moving this item to the consent calendar? And it is a it's a JF to the floor, sir. Mr. Clerk, would you please move House Bill 5208 to the consent calendar? Thank you. Item number 11, House Bill 5210, an act establishing various data security requirements applicable to certain financial institutions. Do I have a motion to JFS this bill to the floor with LCO 3000? Moved by Representative Doucette. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Hoxa. Are there questions or objections? I'm sorry, comments?
I move that we add this to the consent calendar.
Thank you, sir. Are there objections to moving this item to the consent calendar? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, would you please move 5210 to the consent calendar? Next item on our agenda is item number 12, House Bill 5211, an act concerning commercial financing. Do I have a motion to JFS this bill to the floor, LCO 2980? Moved by Representative Doucette. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Representative G. Any questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a couple of comments and maybe a question or two. I think out of all the bills that we looked at this session and in the banking committee meeting, I think this is the one that we had just had the most opposing views on. I'll say that. I think we all agree that the 90% of this bill has some very good language that protects all parties involved, especially those that find themselves in a vulnerable situation that they have to take a loan out of this nature. And I certainly appreciate that. And there was a lot of language in this bill pertaining to particular court motions and court filings and things like that to try to eliminate some of those things so that the borrower gets as much of a fair shake in this deal as possible. However, there was one particular provision of the bill that I just think is not helpful to any party involved. And that is, that the original bill would force a APR disclosure. And I know, on the looks of it, on its face, being against the disclosure of an APR or an interest rate doesn't seem like a good thing. Most people want to know what the interest rate of a loan is before they sign on the dotted line. And that is true in most cases. But in this particular kind of transaction, I think that the APR would not mean anything because it's not based on an interest rate for the transaction between the two parties is not a conventional transaction like a mortgage or a business loan that has fixed monthly payments, principal and interest factored in, because these loans are based on the revenue of the business seeking the loan. So I think that makes it very difficult. I like to use the analogy of a square peg trying to go into a round circle. It's very conceptually, I understand the need, right, of more transparency and full disclosure of these sort of transactions on the side of the borrower, to know what they're getting themselves into. But I think it makes it very difficult when you put this number, which in this case is almost serves an arbitrary sort of. This number would essentially be arbitrary in this sort of situation because it would not be reflective of what ultimately is being paid out or the true nature of what is owed. And I think that is the point of an interest rate in a normal sort of loan. But these are not normal or conventional type of loans. With that said, I very much appreciate Representative Doucette's and yours, Senator Miller, your attempt to come to a compromise on this and create this safe harbor language. But I think it still does not help the consumer. I think it may, or the borrower, I think actually it may have the opposite effect, unfortunately, because I think the issue with forcing that APR to be stamped on that piece of paper can create some confusion as to what this loan actually costs in real world terms to the borrower. And I understand that the safe harbor language makes it so that now the creditor, the lender, is not liable, or is if ultimately what is paid out is more or less than that what that APR would suggest. But I still think that what could actually happen in practice is that it could deter potential borrowers from seeking this avenue, which could save a business. I mean, you see all sorts of, unique, business owners have to pursue all sorts of unique avenues to sometimes save their business. And these loans could, as unconventional as they are, and, as difficult as they are to sort of capture in the APR world, could be the lifeline for, a business. So, it's very important that both parties understand what they're getting themselves into. And I think by not having an APR, it makes it easier for the borrower to understand what they're getting themselves into. And I hope that one day you'll see it my way. But I know that that's, not always the nature of these things. And, we have to compromise and work on these things, a little more sometimes. So with that said, I will flag this bill as well with a no vote. Again, love 90% of it. And I do appreciate and recognize your attempts to come to a happy medium here. I think we go, like with the other bill, I think we could go maybe a little further as well on this one. So that way it becomes, in practice, the bill as we read it is not confusing to us as legislators, but I assure you that if one of us tried to take out one of these loans and we were slapped with this APR that we're looking at, that could end up being a range, not even a set APR, it would create a lot of confusion and undue anxiety that would not be the case if we didn't have that and just simply understood what was owed by us as the borrowers through the way it is right now, the way these agreements are set up right now in the state of Connecticut. So I hope we could continue to research the topic further and really understand on how to make this easier for both the creditors, the people in this industry, and the borrowers, the small business owners in our state, because I think both sides can benefit from continued adjustments to this language. So I hope you're open and willing to continue to tweak this a little bit more. And I'm sure it'll receive a lot of yes votes right now, but I will be a no on this in committee, and definitely looking forward to working with both of you to try to make this the best bill possible, the best version of itself possible. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for your comments. If I may, this bill came to us a couple years ago to calculate the APR for this industry. And my co-chair and I worked with the industry for weeks, weeks to try to come to an agreement. And the existing law is that agreement. But I thought it was understood with the industry that we were coming back to take another look at this. At the time, the law was fresh. It was new and newly implemented in New York and California. And so my co-chair and I decided to just back off for this year and just to see how things pan out in New York and California. So honestly, Representative, if the industry can tell me that they do not practice practice their business or do business in New York and California, I'll be willing to back away from the ARP. But until they can tell me they're not doing business in those two states because they require ARP, I don't plan on backing away from it this year. I think that it's important that we take it to another level. I do appreciate your comments, and that's where I was when, in negotiating the existing law. But I think that when you sit for a couple years and you see article after article about how the businessmen are suffering because the industry marketed to their vulnerability. And so I just read an article where a company in North Carolina, where he had a multi-million-dollar business. And because of things, life happening, he had to go to the industry. And now because of tariffs, his products are sitting, waiting to be picked up, and he can't afford to, get them because the industry is taking monies out of his account. And so I just think that at this point, the industry has had enough time to really figure this out when it comes to Connecticut. I think that the writing should have been on the wall when we initially came out with the bill in, 2023, Mr. Co-Chair? In 2023, and we negotiated, but I apologize if they thought that that was the end. But I thought it was clear that we were coming back. And the opposite, the individuals, the industries, or the organizations that brought the bill, that supported the bill, the original bill, they were not happy with us. They were not happy with us because they felt that Connecticut would be setting a standard in this state. And so, in the country, excuse me. And when I hear testimony that the industry is using the Connecticut model, I take it, I take issue with that because it's not about the Connecticut model. It's about doing what's best for the industry. And I should say the small businesses in this state as well. I also take issue with any product that takes advantage of people's vulnerability, that goes to payday loans. It goes to EWAs, although we worked out something with them. And I really think, Representative, that this is another one of those products where you're taking advantage of people's vulnerability, where they have no choice. And so sometimes people do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do when they're desperate and they're trying to save their businesses. So I'm willing, and the industry knows that because we worked on it before, I'm willing to sit down and I'm willing to talk and listen. But I think it's important for the industry to understand that I can't speak for my co-chair, but I'm really serious about getting this APR through the door this year. So thank you. Mr. Co-Chair, do you have comments?
Not really. Well said, Madam Chair. I concur with everything you said. The only other thing I suppose I'd add is, or reaffirm your statement that, we agreed, I think, in 2023 to a compromise. We took an incremental approach, as you pointed out, to the dismay of the business advocates, the responsible lending advocates that were pushing this bill. But I thought it was important to do so at the time to get our foot in the door to begin to regulate this product, that doing something was better than doing nothing at that time in 2023, with the mind that, as you said, that we would revisit the APR. So it can perhaps be said that this bill, the contents of this bill, are overdue. It's also worth pointing out that we reserve a unique space in this marketplace because of our prejudgment remedy laws. That Connecticut has become a venue for these products and for the collection practices for this product. So it's important that we sharpen our pencils on this and take a look at it every year to make sure that the law is working and that it is fair. So I look forward to continued discussions on this and moving this bill along. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there other comments? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
A roll call vote has been requested on agenda item 12, HB F 5211, an act concerning commercial financing. The action is to JFS to the floor, LCO number 2980. Representative Doucette,
Yes.
Senator Miller,
Yes.
Representative Delnicki, Senator Berthel, Rep Santos,
Rep. Santos votes yes.
Senator Honig, Rep Baker,
Representative Baker votes yes.
Rep Foster, Senator Hockenell,
Senator Hockenell votes yes.
Rep G,
Yes.
Representative Aniskovich, Representative Hoxa,
Hoxa votes no.
Rep Gajewski. That is the roll.
Thank you, sir. And just a reminder to the members, votes will be open until 3 o'clock this afternoon. The next bill on our agenda is HB House Bill 5213, an act establishing a working group to evaluate payroll processing methods employed by financial institutions. Do I have a motion to JF to the floor? Moved by Representative Doucette. Do I have a second? Second by Representative G. Questions or comments? Questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Great bill. I think we ought to add it to the consent calendar. I move to add it to the consent calendar.
Thank you, sir. Are there objections to adding this bill to the consent calendar? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please add HB 5213 to the consent calendar. Item number 14, House Bill 5314, an act concerning concerning the Homes for Connecticut loan program. Do I have a motion to JF to the floor? Do I have a second?
Second.
Representative Oxa, moved by Representative Doucette. Are there questions or comments?
No questions. Just a motion to add this to the consent calendar.
Thank you, sir. Are there objections to moving this bill to the consent calendar? The consent calendar. Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please add House Bill 5314 to the consent calendar. Item number 15, House Bill 5315, an act establishing a working group to study consumer fraud and protections against such fraud. Do I have a motion to JFS this bill to the floor, LCO 2985?
So moved.
So moved, Representative Oxa. Do I have a second? Second, Representative G. Are there questions or comments?
Madam Chair, I move to add this to the consent calendar.
Thank you, sir. Are there objections to moving this bill 5315 to the consent calendar? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please add House Bill 5315 to the consent calendar. Item number 16, House Bill 5316, an act prohibiting real estate investment trusts from acquiring or increasing operational control and health systems from entering into sale leaseback financing transactions. Do I have a JF to the floor?
Second.
Moved by Representative Doucette, second by Representative
Second, yeah.
Oxa. Questions or comments? Representative Doucette.
Madam Chair, just a quick comment. I thought this was an important piece of legislation this year. It's been something, in fact, that I've been working on and thinking about for quite a few years, representing the town of Manchester, where we experienced the bankruptcy of our local hospital, which was owned by the Prospect Medical Group, which participated in this sale leaseback transaction with its real estate, also at Waterbury Hospital, Rockville Hospital, and hospitals all over the country have experienced this. It's a insipid practice that I think has led to problems all over the country, and degradation of healthcare, of many hospitals, rural hospitals especially, that have really caused an acute a problem in the healthcare industry in this country. So I'm pleased to move this along. I note that the Public Health Committee has advanced a similar bill. Their initial draft of the bill, I saw that was raised by the committee was a little different, but I think their substitute language changed it to be consistent with what we're doing here. So I was happy to see that I think we're building a consensus in the legislature on this issue. I think this is one that is also overdue, and will hopefully avoid some of the pain that we have seen that transpired with the Prospect experience. So look forward for this bill moving on today. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Representative Oxa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to echo some of the sentiments made by Representative Doucette, the chairman of this committee. Not just some of the sentiments, the everything he said, I totally agree with. There ought not to be any room in our society for situations that have played out all over the country, like Rep. Doucette pointed out, where you're putting the well-being of patients and healthcare, the healthcare providing system. You're putting those things in jeopardy when you allow for the extreme monetization of all assets involved in these sort of situations. And I'm all for the free market. I'm a free market guy, but there's no system on earth that is perfect. There's flaws and issues with every sort of system, and there's no exception to that. And I think in very particular situations such as this, when when we as a legislature can get involved and legislate a way to prevent, I think the word that was used was unnecessary suffering of patients, the most vulnerable people in our society, those who are sick and are in a hospital, because not everything can be characterized by what looks good on a spreadsheet or on a balance sheet. When these hospitals go out of business, they have to make plans before they close their doors for good and send these people to other hospitals. And same with nursing homes. We had issues with nursing homes in my district as well. And there's a lot of planning that goes on, and we're talking about human lives here, sick people that are need to be taken care of, and that doesn't matter what the cost is. Those are the people that should be taken care of. That should be first take priority in any sort of dealings that happen with the sale and acquisition of assets and other things in these types of transactions. They should be priority number one. So I'm glad to see that this bill is super popular on both sides of the aisle and in multiple committees, and very happily ask to move this to the consent calendar. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I have a question for the proponent of the bill. First of all, I would like to thank you for your leadership on this. Again, I take issue when individuals are taken advantage of, the vulnerable and those that who are exposed or subjected to no other choice, having no other choice but to accept the cards that have dealt them. And so I was wondering, for the record, Representative Doucette, if you could just explain, how does the sale leaseback financial transactions work?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, and I thought that was unique and certainly within the cognizance of this committee to look at that and to advance this bill for the reason that the sale leaseback transaction, to my knowledge, has been used in real estate for quite some time. I think relatively more recent with respect to the hospital industry by these real estate investment trusts. But basically, it's sort of almost like a debt instrument in the way that you are creating a long-term obligation, in this case for the hospital, to transfer its real estate and then enter into a lease agreement, which is a long-term financial obligation for the hospital. What it does is they're basically able to tap into the equity of that asset, the real estate, and by transferring the real estate. And then what's happened again in those worst cases, in the case of Prospect Medical, certainly, and the investors in that company, is that you're able to take that equity and then distribute it to shareholders and other places, not going towards patient care, but going to shareholders, investors, executives of the company, and so forth. So again, I thought that it was because of the unique nature of that type of transaction. I thought it was squarely within the cognizance of this committee. So I think it is well heard here. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. And I do, again, I appreciate you taking the lead on this. I'm sorry. And again, I do appreciate you taking the lead on this. So there is I'm sorry, Representative Oxa. You are a Mr. though, right? So Representative Oxa has made a motion to place this on the consent calendar. Are there objections? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, will you please place House Bill 5316 on the consent calendar? Thank you, sir. Item number 17, House Bill 5317, an act defining mortgage loan for purposes of certain notice provisions relating to flood damage and insurance. Do I have a motion to JF this bill to the floor? Moved by Representative Doucette. Do I have a second? Second by Rep. G. Are there questions or comments? Representative Oxa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. This bill would make it so that a flood insurance, a notice that one may purchase flood insurance for a particular property they are closing on via a mortgage, that notice be made available to these individuals, even ones that are not in a flood zone. Through you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Sure. I believe the intent is to just revise what was done last year, and I believe it was SB 9, with respect to the definition of mortgage loan, so that it captures 1 to 4 family residential mortgage loans. I believe the language was and the definitions was not quite as clear as it could have been in that legislation. So that is the intent here. And I know that, like all bills, we may continue to look at this and make sure to streamline it. have discussions with the proponents of SB 9 as well, and the folks in the governor's office and OPM who worked on that legislation, and make sure that everyone is clear on what we're doing here. But that is the intent, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And so just based on the information that we have received, we, as my co-chair stated, we will be working on it to make sure that it does not contradict SB 9, because we're told that just that minor change will impact the bill, will affect the bill. So I believe that this will look different once it hits the floor.
Really quick through you, Madam Chair, Madam Mr. Chair. So this bill only deals with 1 to 4 family residential dwellings. It doesn't deal with commercial, and it doesn't deal with anything 5 and up. Is that correct through you?
That is correct, sir.
All right, thank you. I motion to add this to the consent calendar.
Thank you, sir. Are there objections to adding this bill to the consent calendar? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, will you please add House Bill 5317 to the consent calendar? Thank you, sir. The last item on our agenda is House Bill 5318, an act concerning candidate committee banking accounts. Do I have a motion to JFS to the floor, LCO 2986? Moved by Representative Doucette. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Oxa. Questions or comments? Representative Oxa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. Did we, in the substitute language, create that $50 million asset threshold, meaning anything, any institution like a small credit union or something under 50 million would not be required to have, they still could if they would like. It just, we understand that it might be a little bit of a burden on them to comply with this in that, the size category. Did we include language, the bill before us, does it have language excluding them through you, Madam Chair?
Yes, sir. We heard the testimony, I believe it was the credit unions regarding smaller credit unions. And so we did exempt if you, a bank or credit union have assets of $50 million or more, this law would apply to them.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate that. And I move to add this to the consent calendar.
Thank you, sir. Are there objections to adding to the consent calendar? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, will you please add House Bill 5318, JFS LCO 2986 to the consent calendar? Do I have a motion to vote on the consent calendar? Oh, we don't need a motion? Okay. Mr. Clerk? Mr. Clerk, will you please call the consent calendar?
A roll call vote has been called on the consent calendar. The bills that are included in the consent calendar are Agenda Item 1, SB 215, Agenda Item 2, SB 216, Agenda Item 4, SB 218, Agenda Item 5, SB 219, Agenda Item 7, SB 301, Agenda Item 8, SB 302, Agenda Item 9, SB 303, Agenda Item 10, HB 5208, Agenda Item 11, 5210, Agenda Item 13, HB 5213, Agenda Item 14, HB 5314, Agenda Item 15, HB 5315, Agenda Item 16, HB 5316, Agenda Item 17, HB 5317, and Agenda Item 18, HB 5318. Representative Doucette. Senator Miller. Representative Delnicki. Senator Berthel. Representative Santos.
Representative Santos votes yes.
Senator Honig. Rep. Baker.
Representative Baker votes yes.
Representative Foster. Senator Hockenell.
Senator Hockenell votes yes.
Representative G.
G votes yes.
Representative Aniskovich. Representative Hoxa.
Hoxa votes yes.
Representative Gajewski. That is the roll.
Thank you, sir. Again, the votes will be open until 3 o'clock this afternoon. So that concludes our meeting. We're going into recess, but excuse me, sir? Thank you. I was just informed that votes would be in room 2400 if you're in the building and on Zoom. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. So we're not going to adjourn because the votes are open until 3 o'clock, but we're in recess. It will be in recess. But before we go into recess, we have the tradition of showing our appreciation to those individuals that have helped us get here today. Speaking for myself, I know I couldn't do it without the team that we have with us, especially Mr. Clerk. Thank you so much. Noah is new to the committee and he did whatever the banking committee's business seamlessly. So Noah, thank you so much for keeping us on track and so really appreciate it. From OFA, we have Ariana, and Ariana, I can't pronounce your last name, but thank you so much. So you can help me. Baronessea? Baronessea. Okay, Baronessea. Okay, Baronessea. Okay. So, but thank you, Ariana. Ariana is from the Office of Physical Analysis. Kristen Miller and Ruth Pino, thank you so much from the Office of Legislative Research. Thank you. Thank you for my email on this weekend. I answering me. I really do appreciate the work that you do to make sure that what we bring to this floor, that we understand it, and that everything that our staff attorney, Patrick, want to thank you especially for drafting this, but just working together as a team. So I really think that we do have a great team, as well as the committee. And so thank you to the committee. And you always hear that this is a very collaborative committee, and it is that, where we sit down and we discuss the bills and we decide what's best for the people of this state. And so I want to thank everyone. Representative Hoxa, in your new role, thank you very much for the role that you played in screening and making sure that we got the best product to the committee. And so again, I want to thank everyone. Noah, I thank Giovanni, DeSantis, Jacqueline Olson, that are also our clerks. We want to thank you. Rebecca, I'm sorry, Rebecca's not on my list, but thank you, Rebecca. Appreciate you. And Ashley Reddish, she's my policy advisor. So thank you, Ashley. I appreciate the work that you do as well. And to my co-chair, and I say this all the time, he's gonna blush now, but I really do appreciate you, Mr. Co-Chair. He is an attorney, and so you can tell the way he, the way he articulates all of our bills, and I love how he weighs his words before he speaks. And so, but I really do thank you. You have been a godsend for me. I'm not afraid, I'm not embarrassed to say that my personal issues still continue. And you've been there. You've been very supportive, keeping me abreast of what's going on, keeping me involved, making sure I stay on top of things. And so I really do appreciate you because you take your job seriously. And if I sound emotional, I am, because you don't find individuals like this gentleman who really cares about doing what's right. It's hard to really find that today. And I'm not slighting anyone else, but I just know about him. He took on the hospital issue, the lease back issues, not because he can get his name out there, not because it happened in his district, but it's because it was the right thing to do. And that's what I've known about you, Mr. Co-Chair, is that you always look for what's right and you fight for it. So I really do appreciate you for always having my back and always doing what's best for the people of Connecticut. So thank you very much.
Well, yes, you did it again, Madam Chair. If I'm blushing up here, it's because of that. And, but no, I appreciate that. I appreciate you. You are a true leader, Madam Chair. You lead with moral authority, with compassion, with intelligence, and like I said, you're a true leader. We couldn't do it without you. I couldn't do it without you, so I appreciate it. And again, I appreciate everyone, the staff. I think we mentioned we have our list here, and apologies if we miss anyone. Austin Hyatt from House Dems helped us. Daniel is my law clerk from UConn Law School. And the nonpartisan staff, you know, we had a pretty substantial agenda, I think, for a short session. To have 18 bills moved out of this committee is pretty significant. And, you know, frankly, our directive from leadership at the beginning of session is that to keep it short because the clock will be running and we won't have a lot of time to move a lot of product. We have acted efficiency and made quick work. And so I think it should be recognized, and the staff should be commended for turning things around, the fire drill that happens this time of year so quickly. So we've done it again. I think we are running like a well-oiled machine. And I also want to, again, appreciate our committee for being punctual and being here for our meetings and hearings, and my ranking member, my new ranking member, and my old ranking member. Appreciate you, Rep. Delnicki. As I think most in the room may know, you had some health issues at the beginning of session. We were very concerned, and we're so pleased to see you bounce back as you have. You are a essential part of this committee, and again, I feel the same way. I might, you know, make you blush if I could, because I really appreciate your partnership and working with you. And Rep. Hoxa, you've been great as well. So thank you again to everyone. I appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, sir. Are there comments from the ranking members? Oh,
Yes, very, very briefly, if I may, Senator Miller and Representative Doucette, thank you very much. It's truly been a pleasure to work with both of you. You know, I sort of wasn't expecting to be ranking this session. Representative Delnicki, as you mentioned, you know, had some health issues, and so this was sort of you know, a toss to me at the last minute, and you guys have been great with helping you know, me take on that role, and in total agreement with how you characterized the committee. And you know, it's truly a very, very well run committee where we agree many, many more times than we disagree, and we usually find a way to work out those very small and limited disagreements that we have. So I feel very honored to be in this position and work with all of you. And want to thank staffs on both sides of the aisle and the nonpartisan staff. I know you guys have a really, really tough job. You have to read all the bills for us, and you know, and assist us in many different ways, so that we're doing our job correctly. With that said, I know Senator Berthel isn't here, but I'd like to maybe let Representative Delnicki also just say a few words as well, if you don't mind.
Representative Delnicki.
Well, I'm glad I was able to make it back because I truly enjoy working with the people on this committee. because everybody, it's like a well-oiled clock ticking in the correct direction. Occasionally, we have to do a little course correction here and there, but it's perhaps the most congenial, the most hardworking, and the most collaborative group of people that I have had the pleasure to work with and look forward to work with again, hopefully next year. So again, I want to thank everybody for the concern they had for my health. And how should I put it? Can't keep a good person down, and I'm back. Thank you.
And it's great to have you back, Representative Delnicki. And so I want to thank our partners, those individuals that brought bills to the committee, those individuals that testified in public during the public hearings. Thank you so much. It is because of your perspective, because of your insight, because of your willing to participate and make a difference in this state that we're able to vote on these bills today. And hopefully we'll bring them to the floor. So again, thank you. The committee is now in recess until 3 p.m. Thank you.
Hey, Noah.
Hey, Jamie.
I vote in the affirmative for the remaining consent, and I think I missed one other vote.
Right, Jason?
Yeah, let me just figure which one it is. It's 5211.
Okay, perfect. I vote in the affirmative. Thank you.
All right, awesome, great. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Hello, Senator.
How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
Great.
All right. So I guess we have a consent calendar, right?
Yeah, and we also have a couple other vote tallies.
Okay.
So we got SB 217, which is it's an act requiring mortgagees to accept mortgage payments tendered on a monthly, semi-monthly, or bi-weekly basis.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm a yes on that.
Okay. And then we got SB 300, which is an act establishing a debt collection exemption relating to joint accounts.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be a no for a flag.
Okay. We got HB 5211, which is, I believe, an act concerning commercial financing.
Right. I think I'm gonna be a no on that one for a flag as well.
Okay. And then the last one's just the consent calendar.
And I'm a yes on that. Of
Awesome. You're all set.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you hanging out.
Of course. Have a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, you too. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
I'm probably not gonna have you do any JF reports, but I don't think I'm gonna have you do any JF reports. If you want to do them, I can find you ones to do, but as far as this committee's doing, like Giovanni doing them all, he's just on Monday, Wednesday. But they're not like I'm thinking JF. Or yeah, if we want to do it, more time to actually work with LCO. Yeah.
There you go.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, just keep on that time. Hello, Representative?
Just wanted to call to put in my votes.
Yep. Let me pull up the sheets. I think you just missed 2 votes. Can I see your face?
No. Do you really need to? I'm only kidding. Hang on.
Unfortunately. All right. 5211. Which is hold on, that's commercial financing.
Yeah, I'm a no on that.
Okay. And the consent calendar.
Yes.
Okay. Just double check the other 2. I think that you're good though. Yeah, you're all set.